It's Fluffy, and I'm back. I'm on spring break, which means I got some time to play. I did not return to Global League, but I can play Live League. This game isn't in the Live League, but we followed the Live League rules of 5 minutes plus 2 minutes increment. And I was definitely not begging for a live game, and Benchwarmer decided to play. Benchwarmer preferred tier 2 and I picked the map, so we ended up choosing Page Avenue as our map, and because it's tier 2 we both ended up picking Eagle, and I can see why. There's plenty of opportunities for an artillery wall, so let's just hope that the game doesn't just grind to a halt as both players try to do nothing. So let's begin. This is not ranked. Neither of us have said that this would be a ranked game, but we still follow Live League rules because it's fun to be put under such time constraints. I go for the neutral base and the back property because it's a capture chain to the airport. Turn 1 property captures and a capture chain? I can't resist that. That's just... and it gets an airport too. I'm Eagle, I want air units. My opponent decides to follow a slightly different path. Decides to go for this center property first, which makes sense. Well, I mean, there's a reason why you might want to take it. I still disagree with it. I disagree with it because I want the capture chain. I want money right now, and this is not a capture chain. But we all have our own priorities. I decide to follow with my 2nd infantry going for this property. Now, these 4 properties all take exactly 2 turns for the infantry on the base to reach. And since all 4 of these take exactly 2 turns to walk there, might as well go for the one closest to your enemy so you can capture it before they can stop you. These properties are pretty safe and they will likely remain your own for the entire game anyway. So, since they all take the same amount of time, go for the furthest one. Then goes for the back capture chain. Okay. I somewhat disagree with this. I prefer to have this base captured because of the... it's 1 turn from the base, but I can also see why. Our forward center base, a lot of infantry in the a lot of properties in the center to capture, and that's a lot of work for one base. So I can see why the corner base on the 2 space side, which doesn't have a lot of properties to capture, just these 2 really, and maybe this one up here. I can see why sharing the responsibilities can be appealing. But I still somewhat disagree with it. It's something that I wouldn't do, but I can see some merit. Now, I said that these 4 properties all take exactly 2 turns, so you should go for the furthest one as your first choice. But what about the second choice? Well, I don't want to capture this property yet because this is on the side, and if I capture it, it's hard to move to the next property without cannibalizing on my other infantry's captures. So instead, I give myself the option to choose one of these 2 properties. They are both more centralized and can shift onto more center properties. And, well, that's about it. I'm trying to spread out my infantry in such a way that they will not interrupt each other's captures by getting into each other's way. So that's the plan. At least for this base. For this base, I don't really know much to do with this other than this base can be used for vehicles because I don't need infantry. At least not from this base. Now I said I disagreed with this move. This one I would disagree completely. Like, not just disagree, I disagree completely. Because income, you need the money. And an artillery over here. When playing this live, I'm not sure what the artillery was for right now anyway. I thought it would move to the center to try to stop me from capturing some of my properties. So I decide I also want an artillery over here. So I'm gonna do the same. Ultimately, as for this infantry, I chose to capture this property up here because I realized this infantry could go for this property instead. So I'm not cannibalizing on this infantry's capture by going for this property. And this infantry is still centralized enough that I can start going for other properties in the center. And then, now only 2 properties left. Put my infantry in a position to capture either one. So, capture these properties. Okay. Artillery aiming at the pipe seam. And that's when I realized that's what the artillery is for. I had not even considered it. Yeah, I really did not consider it. I thought the comm tower would probably just not be captured the entire game, but I'm glad it is. And I decide I'll do the same. I also want the comm tower. After all, there was no threat. Well, the recon's pretty far away. It's not going to be at the front lines anytime soon. So I'll just build another artillery up here to send it up. I do want more infantry down here. And like I said before, this base doesn't have a lot to capture, so I can start pumping out vehicles. So I might as well do this. More artillery. As for why I disagree with skipping this property, this pipe seam is not breaking for 3 turns. So this infantry can't capture the comm tower right away. It will have to move up to capture this one and then move back. Whereas by not skipping the well, I just didn't go there at all. I used this base to capture. My artillery is timed in such a way that after I capture this city at the same time I break the pipe seam, so I can just immediately go to the comm tower. Move my infantry over here. Still not sure whether I should send it down or up to capture these properties, so I decide to give myself the option of both. And I build a tank to respond to the recon. More artillery. I heard Eagle likes his artillery, and I especially like my own artillery. But I'm thinking, yeah, I do need artillery, but I also want some tanks. And the reason why, my tanks can move and attack twice during lightning strike, whereas artillery can only move and attack once. Well, they can attack twice, but it means they can't move. I also decided to just risk for this property. I know the recon can interrupt, and then the artillery can move in to lock the city down permanently. But I decided to go for it anyway because, well, for one, it's because of that reason it will be locked, that I want to capture it right now or never, but also because Battlecopter. There's no anti-air here yet, and it will take a couple of turns to reach the front lines. Maybe I can get some kind of good engagement from it, just maybe. Still, I wanted to go for it. Meanwhile, I decide to lock my opponent's city down before the infantry can even begin to capture. Artillery does not go in the road to lock it, and I assume recon also will not interrupt it, otherwise my tank will just kill it. Or at least it will try to. I don't think zero comm tower against recon in the woods would kill it. Using the black boat to boost for style points and to protect the artillery. And some people don't like artillery on the one base side. I like it. I want to lock my own cities down as to not let my opponent take it that easily. Like I said, because of the timing, the infantry can't move up to capture the comm tower right away, so it has to spend a turn moving back and then moving up to capture it. Whereas my pipe seam broke at the same time of the capture, so I can move it to take it next turn. But as I was saying, artillery, I don't find it bad on the weak side, because with one turn's movement of the artillery, I can protect these two properties. Which means, if they want to dislodge my artillery, they have to go within one turn's reinforcements of my base. Which, fighting at one turn's reinforcements is very dangerous. Especially since this is artillery movement, which is the same movement as a medium tank. Then again, there is a lot of artillery, so I suppose medium tanks aren't that useful. Maybe just to knock out the anti-air and hope the Battlecopter does the job. I see anti-air, Battlecopter flies up and away. I lock down this city and step off of it because I don't need to sit on it anymore. My artillery would protect it. I preemptively built an anti-air. Well, anti-air is good for killing Battlecopters, but it's also good for wall breaking into artillery. So I thought anti-air isn't that bad of a buy. I honestly think people do not build enough anti-air. They just build one and think it can hold off the entire Battlecopter army. I see this happen a lot of times, especially in the lower tier, lower MMR games, I mean. But I like anti-air. It does its job, and does a lot more than just Battlecopters. So, anti-air, out of range. Let's take a shot at the recon. And then I realized I did not capture my comm tower before attacking. What? So it's like I got no benefit for timing the comm tower, right? Because the only engagement that happened in the time frame of me capturing the comm tower half a turn sooner is when I didn't even capture it. On the bright side, it still means I have a pretty efficient capture, and by locking down this property, I have 1k income advantage. That is amazing. What are you trying to do here? What's this? What's this? I'm surprised that my opponent attacked back. I did not expect it. Maybe it's something to do with the sum value calculations I was too lazy to do during live, but I decided to kill it, move my artillery to protect my battlecopter, and then move my second artillery to take the place of the first artillery. And then I decide to try to take this property. Now, I was feeling confident since I got a medium tank coming in pretty soon. I wanted my anti-air in this woods to protect a lot of stuff, so I moved my tank down here. This ends up being a bigger mistake than I expected it to be, and you will see why very soon. It's not a blunder by any means, don't use that word lightly, but it is still a mistake. I see this artillery aiming at this property, so I shift my artillery up to aim at it as well, protect my property. Now an artillery's aiming at this property now. Yeah. That's not good. There's a lot of pressure. I don't feel like counting. My opponent has 6 artillery. And is building more artillery. That's 8 artillery now. That's a lot of artillery. But I'm not too scared of them. As I said before, Lightning Strike allows artillery to move and attack once, whereas tanks can move and attack twice during Lightning Strikes. So, I'm fine with it. And here is where I realized I may have moved my tank too far down. Because now this is live. And I just needed to move things quickly. Unfortunately, my tank does not cover the property, which means it cannot counterattack their tank, which is a shame. But that's what happens in live. I got an excuse, don't judge. And I wanted to play aggressively so as to not stall it out. Also because I really wanted to get more than just 1k income advantage. So I'm moving, but I'm also moving a lot of my infantry down instead of go up. And the reason for that is infantry and artillery work really well together. And I don't think my opponent has enough infantry to really stop my push right now anyway. So I might as well reinforce my defense, which probably needs it more than my offense. I also realize my opponent only has 1 anti-air, which means I should probably start battlecopter spamming. The anti-air! No! A wall broke! And a medium tank covers both these artillery. Okay, so now I'm thinking this is looking not that good, which means I need to have a gooder attack up here. Not good, make it good. So I decide to wall break. I spent quite some time on this, I think about 3 minutes, which is a lot in one turn. Maybe 4 minutes actually. And I decide, okay, this is how I'm gonna wall break. Anti-air, one-shots infantry, thankfully. We have the comm tower for that. Initially, my plan for knocking out this infantry was just to allow my battlecopter to attack this artillery and then have my 9 HP tank attack this artillery. But ultimately I decided it's not worth putting my battlecopter up front as it's my only battlecopter. So I decide I'm going to preserve my battlecopter for now. Artillery and medium tank will kill my medium tank but I have my artillery of my own and a battlecopter to attack their medium tank back, so that's the plan. As for what I'm going to do down here, one anti-air, just one. There are battlecopters, but it's still only one anti-air. If I get anti-air of my own to knock out their battlecopters and focus down this one anti-air, this entire front would be on full retreat because there's no response for battlecopters. So that's my plan. Artillery takes a shot at the anti-air. And more battlecopter spam. I said more battlecopter spam, there it is. Because I want the battlecopter swarm to run over all of these artillery. As crits, I had to build 4 anti-air. I probably could have built a missile as crit, but that's how much I feared battlecopters if I'm using artillery, an artillery-based army. As expected, my medium tank dies. I probably did not need this tank here, so my opponent got a nice shot on it. And no, my properties, they're being threatened. I must win on this front even more. What surprised me the most was the fact that this battlecopter chose to go down instead of support the top. Same thing with this tank over here. It also chose to go down instead of support this front. Is it a mistake? Is it a game-losing blunder? I honestly don't know. It's too complicated for me, and playing this game live, my brain was not willing to spend the brain power on something like this. I just know, oh, this side is pretty weak, let's try to attack it. So, artillery, I probably could have used Black Bolt to heal up my battlecopter 1 more HP before attacking. My infantry is doing its part, it's helping. And I decided, might as well take a shot over here. The anti-air is not close enough to attack this battlecopter, so this battlecopter is probably fine. I'm okay with trading battlecopters, especially if I'm this close to my airport and my opponent isn't close to their airport. And I'm like, alright, let's try to win even more. I couldn't kill it off, but I can still attack. I was hoping my anti-air can also join in on the attack somewhat. Not really, but... No, actually no, that's a terrible move, never mind. But I was still hoping to kill this medium tank so I can use the forest instead of the road. And then it is here, after moving this infantry forward, where I look at the power. And I see, oh... Uh-oh. Retreat! Retreat! Protect the anti-air. The anti-air must not be lost under any circumstances, because I'm... Just like how I'm planning to do a battlecopter swarm down here, I fear a battlecopter swarm up here from my opponent. And so now I'm thinking, protect the anti-air. Just... Artillery. The artillery's job is to hold these properties, to stall it long enough for me to win on my offense front. It did its job. It doesn't need the infantry protection anymore. Now I just need to protect my direct attack vehicles. Don't get me wrong, I do love my artillery, but if you know what they say, if you love something, you have to learn to let it go. So I'm letting my artillery go. It's done its job holding these properties for as long as it did. And now I brace for the lightning strike. I got 2 anti-air here to knock out battlecopters. We all know how powerful Eagle anti-airs are, knocking out 2 copters during a lightning strike. So here it comes. My tank! This actually confused me for a bit. You're definitely going to get lightning strike considering I have a open battlecopter right here and lots of exposed artillery. So I was a little confused about this, but maybe there was some calculation I wasn't considering. But looks like it was going to... wasn't necessary? I still don't think it was necessary for the medium tank to attack my copter. In fact, you probably get more power attacking my tank, considering you will do a lot more damage to my tank. Yeah, it was definitely possible. My artillery is open. Oh. The artillery wall has moved up. Fortunately, it can only shoot once during lightning strike because it spent its first turn moving instead. Well, actually, let's watch the power. I like it when it shines. That must have been a low 5 HP infantry for that. My anti-air. The artillery barrage. Battlecopters targeting my battlecopters because anti-air. There's only one anti-air, so my opponent is somewhat forced to attack battlecopters with battlecopters, which I disagree with. But I know it's forced here, but I typically prefer my battlecopters attacking tanks. This is why I built a lot of that's why I had 4 anti-air, because I want my battlecopters targeting tanks rather than other battlecopters. Interrupt this capture. Why not just hit this tank? I mean, I'm not getting the capture anyway. Alright, so my turn begins. I'm thinking, alright. Battlecopter swarm plan needs to happen in order to win here. There's 3 battlecopters that I see and 1 anti-air. I have a healthy tank that can knock out this anti-air. This battlecopter can take on the 2 9 HP battlecopters. And since this battlecopter is within 1 turn's reinforcement from my airport, I could build a new battlecopter, lightning strike, and knock out this battlecopter without building a new anti-air. So that's my plan. And I immediately set it into motion. Anti-air is effectively knocked out. My low HP units, I don't want it attacking infantry because the chip counterattacks can actually do a lot, especially against my low HP copters who won't do much damage to begin with. Ultimately, this battlecopter doesn't have much to do, so I decided to join it so that my copters are less fragile. Battlecopter spam. I begin to continue attacking because I can. Now my tank comes. It's been left alive, so it can attack. And I decide to front shift my anti-air down. I'm not seeing a battlecopter swarm, and even if there was, I could probably retreat in time. So that's why I decided to move my anti-air down. Build a recon because recons are still good. And a tank. Lightning strike. Also saved enough money to build 3 more infantry. That's why this was not a tank over here. As the plan goes, knock out all the air defenses. Now this is a little bit of a live misplay on my end. I had a tank here which has a target, and I just blocked off its only target. So that's a little bit of a mistake on my end. Such is the nature of live games, despite me having I have plenty of time. I should really just spend it. That must be a really low 4 HP infantry to be knocked out by a 5 HP. Knocked out the other copter. I decided I don't want to lose my anti-airs because they can one-shot infantry. So I thought I should attack these artillery that can aim at my anti-air. My low HP tank knocks out the anti-air completely. Recon attacks. Battlecopter sits on the property to be annoying. Knock out some more artillery. Tries to interrupt. Probably has a 0% chance of doing any damage, but such is the nature of life. We don't think, we just eat. The 3 HP infantry, it's still contributing. Woo. I continue attacking. 9 HP infantry probably isn't going to capture anything this close to their reinforcement range, so I decide might as well take on the recon. So, no anti-air, no battlecopters. My battlecopters are now completely uncontested. And my opponent fights on, probably to capture these properties, and then planning to retreat afterwards, which I don't necessarily disagree with. I probably would have done the same thing, although I probably would also have 2 or more anti-air rather than just 1, especially when I'm attacking within 1 turn's reinforcements of an airport. It's a battlecopter. Oh no. I don't have any anti-air. 3 HP infantry, it holds strong. Okay, and now we strike. Well, first, gonna run away up here. No anti-air, 1 turn's reinforcements from battlecopter. Not a good idea to stay. Plus, I got my properties already, so there's no reason to continue fighting over here. 3 HP infantry, it's still contributing. Woo! And as for my battlecopter, I decided there's no anti-air here, so this battlecopter is probably going to be very annoying if it stays up here. I'm hoping this battlecopter attacks it so that it wastes its time up here and not in the center. I like having my battlecopters focus on tanks. Ignore that. I prefer my battlecopters attacking tanks, and my ground units to attack other ground units. Oh well, I prefer anti-air attacks battlecopters, so my battlecopters don't have to. I like the main strength of the battlecopters is that they take very little counterattack damage when they first strike. Which is one of the reasons why I build so many anti-air. And now these anti-air will pay me back by attacking these infantry. It worked! If you love something, you have to learn to let it go. It has 1 ammo left. It's been a good copter, but it had to go. It did its job. It did its job. It was a good copter. Alright, they captured the properties, which means they should be retreating now, since there's no reason to continue staying here. It's somewhat of a retreat. Didn't like that the artillery moved forward, but the infantry for the most part, actually never mind, these infantry moved forward to kill a copter. So now we shall punish the overextension for being 1 turn's reinforcement. Anti-air, 1 shots, anti-air, 1 shots, anti-air. Well, I aimed at the artillery so it wouldn't 1 shot, but still. Joining my copters so that the infantry can't just pick it off. Couldn't quite cover it completely, but it's fine with me because it means every time they try to interrupt my capture, I just get another shot off the artillery. Run away! You did its job. Now you can rest. You did your job. Now you're going to rest. protected by a tank, of course. I'm not going to abandon my little infantry. And here's the full retreat. Well, not completely full retreat, but retreat towards the HQ where the black boat can act as a wall. Attacks into my artillery range, but doesn't have the units to actually interrupt my capture, so this property is mine. So, I go in, I attack anyway. One shot, boom! I'm fine with losing a copter here for this attack because I'm greatly ahead in unit count and unit value, and I definitely want to trade before my opponent gets the second lightning strike. Every vehicle I trade is one less vehicle that benefits from their lightning strike, which is why I'm being rather aggressive. I did not get the first lightning strike, so my opponent's likely to get the second lightning strike. So we just eat. Just attack. Every vehicle we trade is in my favor because that's one less they benefit from the lightning strike. And so here I thought I was pretty confused. My infantry, no. Anyway, I was pretty confused about my this attack over here. My artillery is running out of ammo from how much it's been shooting, and it just got another shot. Well, it will get another shot on the tank. And then I realized my opponent's probably going for the lightning strike after seeing this recon attack. But it's more than a bar away. I don't think there's enough you can sack for a lightning strike. And so the lightning strike never came. Well, that was this game. It's my first live game, not ranked, but following live league rules. And admittedly, I did get a headache playing this because I was sleepy and it's Eagle. But it was still fun. I couldn't resist a live game like this. Ultimately, I think the moral of the story is get more anti-air. I've said it in my prior videos. If you watched for that long, I mentioned a lot about getting a lot of anti-air. I hope this really hits home the fact that you need anti-air. And they are especially powerful as Eagle because you could kill 2 units in one turn with them. Anyway, this is my first live game back since my spring break started. There will probably be more before my spring break ends. And if you're on the Advanced Wars by Web Discord, I might be playing some more live games. You may occasionally see me ask the Discord for a live game. Or maybe not, who knows. I might not feel like it and pop some Puyos instead. But that was this game. Anyway, goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.